Last week on the campaign, Huck had a lot of issues. Issue number one, he met his childhood sweetheart, Frederick, and ate him. That's a big issue. There were reasons. I don't remember most of them. I doubt he does. He's Huck. The boat that we were on, the Mechana, the Lady Mechana, in fact, was traveling through dimensions, time, and space to Mort's childhood home of Kipling. And there, we traveled twice. First, in the body of Tristan to meet with Dargonian, where Tristan offered to sell us all down the river, and then thought better of it, came back to the boat, and then the boat itself arrived at Kipling, where we met Dargonian, and found out he was Huck's father, and Huck prepared to launch fireballs at him. And that's basically it.
Did you miss anything? Anyone?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay.
Sounds about right to me. Yeah, Tristan was very much ready to sell the party down the road because he's in self-preservation mode.
All right, so as I recall, we left just to the point where Huck was nanoseconds from launching his meteors that he already has summoned up. And we'll start there.
With his meteors circling his head, Huckovus is going to what was the demon's name again? The devil's name?
Dargonian.
Gardonian. He's going to say, Gardonian, at least do me the honor of telling me why. Why all this? Why is this bringing me about? I know you say you killed my mother because, but why me? What's my part in this?
I suppose I owe you at least that much. Excuse me.
Who knows what power lies in the offspring of the infernal and the Fae? I hope that perhaps you would grow a spine. Have you?
I think an answer. He's going to pitch some meteors at him.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me count real quick. I think I can only do a couple. 2. Okay, so here we go. 1 and 2. Both of which are going to whiff widely and miss hugely with a 3 and a 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go with those being misses. That seems like a safe assumption. You know what?
One section, he's going to kind of just laugh, at himself.
I guess we should roll initiative at this point. Right?
Okay.
Yep.
Hang on.
Not bad.
Huck.
Huckovus nowhere rolled a 18 minus 1, which is 17.
Mort.
20 plus 4, so 24.
Ooh.
Wanted to get people out of the way early.
Tristan.
Tristan rolled a flat, rolled an 18, and I have no initiative bonus. 18.
Sure.
9.
Alright. Calculator to come up with the number he came up with. Bless you.
Thank you.
And Onyx is going to be on my initiative order, right?
Right.
Want to make sure.
All right. So Mort, you see Huckabus fire 2 shots over the bow.
So this was fireball, meteor storm.
The meteors, right? Huck. I believe it was a meteor storm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's meteors. There's still 4 or 5 of them circling above his head,
And they're going towards the city?
straight out into the ocean.
Well, all right. Had you rolled
They
well,
went past the guy. What's that?
Well,
I didn't hear what someone last said. So basically, does it look like these meteors are trying to be sent towards the city that I've been trying to find? Or is- Like my recollection was the demon was like hovering over the city.
Correct. And the meteors went in the general direction of the demon, but missed him and crashed into the town library.
What?
And some residences. Right. Right.
I was told they crashed into the ocean, but I guess this works as well.
Now you were in the ocean and you threw them towards the town, so they wouldn't have crashed in the ocean. Right. Right.
They could have.
I was unaware of the spatial reality of our situation, but I'm fine with everything you've said.
I mean, you were on a boat, right?
Yes.
We are on a boat.
Correct. So yes, the
Okay.
town has been bombarded with these fiery missiles.
I'm going to fly across the boat, or like run across the boat and try and grapple Huggins to try and keep him from doing that again.
Okay. And you get across the boat. Somebody's got to know the grappling rules. Corey, I assume that's you.
It's a strength check for me.
What? No, Nathan played a monk, so he no doubt knows the grappling rules. Figure it out amongst yourselves.
It's a athletics check from you, and it's contested by either a athletics or dexterity check from Huck.
I rolled a 19. 19 minus 1 is 18.
I rolled an 11 with no modifier. So yes, that's yeah, that's my action.
So I picture as Mort runs up to him, he's like, "Oh, what the hell's going on?" And he just reaches his hand out. And he's like, he's grabbed you kind of by the forehead a little bit. You're just like pushing you away a little. You're like trying to run towards him.
Definitely. Yeah, he's kind of like swinging his arm, throwing around like, nope. How can this stop it? No.
You attempt to grasp him, and you actually get your hand on him a time or two, but you slip off from the still fresh blood that is covering his clothing and body. Tristan.
so it's Dargonian, right? Right, sir? We talked not too long ago, is that correct? Same Dargonian?
You asking him or me?
No, I'm talking to him.
Indeed.
You said you like deals. Correct.
Good deals.
So give us a moment and let us formulate a deal for you. And then this doesn't have to happen. There's no reason for a father to have to fight his son. And I look over at Huckavis and I go, "Is that going to be a possibility, Huckavis?"
Huckavis just kind
I
of shrugs
love
his
deals.
shoulders, says, your lead.
He's going to kill us, Huckavis. Just like he killed your mother.
Perhaps.
Well, I don't want to make this day a dying day, my friend. Look back at Targaryen and I say, "Can you give us a few minutes to have a conversation between ourselves?" You're muted, Ken, if you're trying to talk to us.
I was doing nothing but speaking. Take your time.
Thank you very much, Dargonian. And then he will start walking away from the party a bit, hoping that the party follows him. Because we need to have a talk, or we're all going to fucking die here.
You're on the boat, right? We're still on a deck?
I think
Yeah,
we're all-
but he just starts walking towards the aft of the ship rather than the bow. Not that I don't think Dargonian can hear us, but, you know, it's the...
Taco, your turn. Hello?
Yeah, what's up?
Can I do just one last real quick thing? Still invisible, as he's been the whole time. Onyx is just there patrolling, and will let me know if anything happens aggressive from Dargonian.
Sure.
The help act, if you want to call it the help action, it's cool, but whatever you want to call it. It's just alertness, you know what I mean? Not that I don't think
Okay.
Dargonian can see him as well. But
Pop.
Goes to join and says, all right, what's the plan? What's the plan?
You can go free for now. Free for unless somebody
Still
wants
has
to do
some
something.
meteors floating around his head.
yeah. Well, you know, the first thing might be you might want to get rid of those damn meteors because it looks rather aggressive.
No, it does, doesn't it? It's very fun.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And if we weren't going up against and he looks back over his shoulder, this guy's enormous, right, Ken?
He's pretty big. Yep.
You know, if we're going up against a normal foe, probably much more intimidating.
Meh.
But nonetheless.
You spoke of a deal. What do you have in mind?
Yeah, well, we need to formulate that deal. What do you think more, you know, I mean, you've been around with this guy, and he points over to Tarkovus much longer than me, and clearly longer than Fear. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. Again, I don't want to make this a dying day.
Right. He gets in moods sometimes, is what I've noticed.
Clearly.
Yeah. At this point, I'm kind of in favor of tying Huckavis up and throwing him under the below deck, just so he doesn't interfere if that's what it takes. Not super happy that he was throwing fireball or like meteors at the city that I've been looking for.
That was a mistake. I didn't mean to hit the library.
It was. I'm sure you didn't. You've been thinking, but it was also very, very reckless. And I think if we're in conversation with a devil, I don't know that recklessness is really called for.
Right, but look, he asked me if I had a spine, so I said, sure, I'm going to shoot this at you. Now, my spine wasn't very straight that moment, I admit it. Well, of course.
Yeah, but there's more ways to show spine rather than trying to hurl fireballs at whatever the hell that thing is.
When you say fireballs, Huckavis is actually going to like poke one of them that's circling above his head, and you'll hear a little pink, pink, like lines there and meet you.
Oh, sorry. Still on fire, right? Fear, what do you think? You know what I mean? You've only been with us for a short time, and I bet you didn't expect all of this.
Oh, it's all just a lot of fun to watch. Quick clarification questions. Is the ship still covered in shadowy thingamajigs doing sailory bits?
They are not currently doing sailory bits, but they are there.
Okay. Is the town a
Interesting note. When you look around, you notice that there are more of these creatures in the town. If I didn't mention that earlier.
Are there any not those creatures in the town?
Not that you can see. No.
And then is the town a halfling town? Is it a mixed up town?
Or
Sorry, yeah. It's it's almost entirely, if not entirely, a halfling town. It's fairly small, a few hundred, maybe at most 1,000 or two people. Or at least it was last time I was there. Yeah, all halflings. My recollection of it was that it was pretty tucked away, out of the way from everything, kept to themselves.
So kind of like
You know
Hobbiton in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I mean, once or twice a year, they'd send someone into Neverwinter to, get something, do something, whatever. But for the most part, they were self-contained, just a few relatively halflings.
Just perspective wise, are we sure this guy's as big as he looks?
He's actually only
probably,
7.
That's right. He's probably 20 feet tall, given the perspective and the such. And more as you're having this conversation, you do just realize, if you hadn't already, that indeed all of the shadowy creatures in the town look to be of halfling size.
Okay.
So they're mostly halflings in town?
Right.
That's correct.
So
Halflings that aren't halflings, though. So, all right, yeah. But what do you
They're
think?
halfling
Fear?
size, but they're pitch black. Like
Yeah. What do you think, Fear? Do you think this is you being a wizard and such? Do you think this is even something we can tackle?
wizard.
You're a much learned man than some of us.
Right. Well, I'm still getting background information. I apologize.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
So no, it's fine. Last question, I believe. When I did the detect magic spell on the ship, did the shadowy sailor bits radiate anything that would lead me to believe that they are either shrouded because of the plane of existence that we are on, or because they originate from such place?
Realistically, what you got from the sailor guys was kind of a necromantic
Okay.
aura. Everything is got some level of, we'll just call it static, which you would know to be because there's a lot of ambient magic in the general vicinity, the background noise, for lack of a better word. So yeah, there's no illusion or whatever that would be. You're basically just picking up necromantic and background noise.
Okay. Well, Tristan, I surmise from my investigations on the ship that we've traveled into a different plane. If I had to guess, it would probably be the Shadowfell, going with the shadow figures.
I'm under the same impression. I'm unable to contact Halicid, and also Onyx is completely unable to do any contact to the Feywild in any way, shape, or form.
Now,
Knows very little about the
the secondary thing I would say is that in my investigation of the infernal invasion that seems to have noticeably not happened here, there seemed to be a great deal of Netherese influence going on, who I believe are quite important in Shadowfell. I would wonder if maybe we could get this boat started and get the hell out. Because no, a fight is not an option. Unless we are.
No, he will destroy us with no problems at all. And the second question is like I said, I guess I didn't tell you guys. When I left the room, tried to contact Taliesin. As I said, I was unable. Once I wasn't able to do, Bamf back to where he, to the Feywild, which he should be able to do at any moment's notice, and he was unable to do that as well. I have an ability that I can actually go back to the Elysium when I would like. We are someplace under a very large, strict control. And then I tried again, and instead of going to Taliesin, I went to this guy. And he, as I said, he likes deals here. So let's make a deal with him.
Huckabus.
Maybe there's something we can do with him, for him, that will make all this go away. And he looks at Huckabus and he goes, "Hold on 1 minute there, big guy. Okay? Just because I know you're very emotional right now, especially from what happened with you and your... I guess he wasn't your friend.
If I could interrupt just for a second, Corey, you actually noticed that since coming away, Huckabus has calmed down dramatically. He definitely, the feralness is a little out of his eye, out of his eyes, and he doesn't look quite as... well, you never knew the more jovial Huckabus, but he looks a little bit more like the old jovial Huckabus.
Corey understands that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, has no idea.
So when you say, hold on, you're looking at Huckabus, and he kind of has a not deranged grin on his face, but almost. It's just kind of a lopsided, as if he has an idea.
So, that's a pretty shitty grin you have on there, Huckabus. What?
Well, it appears that giant thing over there claims to be Huckabus's father, right? So, if that's my father's, then perhaps he and I need to go away and bond somewhere together. Perhaps the deal could be made that I just go with him and you guys go about your way. Then one day I will return and I'll be more powerful than ever.
Is that what you want?
Not really.
Do you want... Because I'm going to be very honest with everything that's going on here, gentlemen. I want nothing more than to go back to the Elysium.
Huckabus dismisses his meteorites, thus ruining that whole spell slot, and says, "But did I understand you to say that you can't go back right now? There's something blocking you?"
Yes, there is, and it's I think it's him.
Well, that would make sense, really. Tell me, Fear, what do you know of this Feywild? I only remember it from the invasions. I've never actually been here.
So I don't believe this is the Feywild, Huckabus. That's a common point of confusion. In fact, this is probably the Shadowfell or a demi-plane.
Sorry, I was using the wrong word. Sorry.
Oh, not a problem at all. It's common when discussing planar travel. It gets confusing.
It does, yeah.
Very.
Been around a few planes in my time.
Indeed.
Small planes, some big planes, some fast planes, some slow planes.
I find the ones with the snakes are the worst. But that being said, it's possible that because you're unable to contact your god, Tristan, that we are in some sort of plane imprisonment designed for this here Dargonian. So we may not want to make
sense. Fair. Absolutely makes sense.
So you think he might be
Mort? I know this is Tristan doesn't know that. Why do you keep talking so much about wanting to save this town, Mortimer?
Wait, did you just call me Mortimer?
Well, it was always the name that was in my head, and that's sorry it came out this time.
It's fine. It's Mordecai. This is where I was from, where I am from. So yeah, it never really came up. Years ago, at this point, when I was still just, not quite a kid, a little older than a kid, but wasn't ready to be on my own by any stretch. I think I mentioned that they'd send once or twice a year someone into the village just to pick things up. get supplies, whatever they couldn't get or make themselves. When I was about 20, it was my turn. I got to go. That was a big adventure. Went into town. Bought some plow. I bought a plow or two.
Like a rite of passage.
Not necessarily. It wasn't a challenge. It was just they finally trusted me enough to go do it by myself. It wasn't supposed to be a big deal. Go to the city, buy some equipment, come back. But when I got back, the buildings and everything were there, but everyone was gone. No notes, no tracks, no footprints, no blood. Which, I mean, if there had been something like that, even it would have maybe given me some idea what had happened.
So it just disappeared.
Yeah. I mean, I stuck around for a day or two. Ran out of food. The only thing I could think to do was go back into the city. I sold the things I just bought. Had a little bit of money left over, which ran out pretty quick. Only thing I could think to do, was steal what I needed to do to get by, which didn't make me a huge favorite of the city guard. Most people never went through that. Jay Cracker noticed me, took pity on me, kind of helped me out as I was trying to figure out what was going on. That's the main reason why I never left earlier. That's.
But it looks like it's inhabited now.
Right. Which is why I didn't want Huckabus to destroy it.
My bad.
I mean, I'm interested in figuring out what happened. Where'd they go? Why do they look so shadowy now?
So then maybe we should offer to I don't want to work for this man,
9.
but we maybe could do something that's for him.
All right, to that end, I would say the one thing we need to make sure to try and avoid is if indeed, as Fia believes, or thinks, or supposes, or suppositions, and lost in words, as indeed Fia might fear, it could well be that he is trapped here. If that's the case, we don't necessarily want him to not be trapped here. Does that follow?
Yeah, but we also don't want Mort's village to be like this forever. This is Mort's home, Huckabus.
Maybe we go to a pretty.
If you could get nowhere back, wouldn't you want that?
Maybe we could go to a prettier plane, and the place would be lovely and delightful and filled with flowers and yogo. Who can say?
True. So then what are we going to tell him?
I'm inclined to go and offer to buy him a beer.
Sit down. Rehash old times.
Well, we don't have very many memories together, you might understand. But, Huckabus has always done well at these things. In fact, and he smacks a table or Mort's head, he doesn't know which, and says, I'm going to try it. What do you say?
What we got to
You're
lose?
the one closest to the man. I don't think it's a terrible idea.
Yeah, so very good. Well, Huckabus is going to walk. And again, for flavor purposes, this guy is kind of floating, above the docks, above the city? What's going on with that?
He's probably a couple of rows of buildings deep. He's just kind of flapping his wings, hovering around that, about a couple streets deep.
Would you say he's hovering menacingly?
He is aware and ready.
Well, Huckabus, with is going to walk towards I guess probably just yelling at him from the boat deck is the best way we're going to do this. But he's actually going to use his thaumaturgy just to make his voice a little louder, so he knows he's being heard. And And he says, all right, sir, we have come to some sort of conclusion to our negotiations amongst ourselves. And myself, Huckabus, as I'm told your son, would like to ask you out for a beer.
He stares at you and kind of pulls back his upper lip, showing his fangs.
I do the same.
So, you would like to reminisce?
Catch up on old times. Catch up on new times. Let's figure ourselves away from this potential confrontation. What do you say?
I have no requirement for a confrontation. Very well. What do you propose?
Is there I mean, you're magnificently huge. Is there a beer garden we could go to? Maybe an outside venue? Perhaps there'll be some hipsters playing guitars too loudly? Tell me, when you're kicking back with your fellows, back in wherever you are from, I mean, what's your favorite beverage? What do you sit around and enjoy? Blood of Virgin, something like that, I'm taking?
I would think you were sated of that. But come, shall go to my humble home.
Ah, may my friends join us.
Absolutely.
Huckabus then turns around and like gives 2 thumbs up with a silly grin on his face as if this plan's working great.
Yeah, and materializing right close, like painfully close to you is Onyx, and he's just staring at you because he remembers you just killed him not too long ago. Not that he wants to hurt you, but he's just staring at you.
I imagine
with that kind of face.
I imagine Huckabus is far from Onyx's favorite bipedal creature.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But he just looks over to Tristan and gives him a shrug, and but it then turns invisible again.
Comes and let us disembark.
He hovers as though he's waiting on you.
I'm guessing there's a gangplank.
Yep.
Gang's away.
All right.
All right. So you head that way.
I think we should be at alert, gentlemen. At alert.
Huckabus chuckles a little when you say that.
So, Mort, doesn't take more than a few minutes for you to realize that he's likely taken up residence in the great hall where all the town business was done. As you're on your way there, you pass by your childhood friend Adric's house, and you, for a moment, think that you see Thadric, but then you kind of realize it's one of these shadow things that looks very much like Thadric, but it's a shadow thing, so it clearly isn't him.
So seeing that, I will would want to quit being invisible, and try and interact with the shadow.
When you become visible, it looks like a generic shadow again. Doesn't really have any of Phaedric's features or anything.
Okay. At which point I'll kind of slowly edge back toward. So I don't know if the rest of the party has stopped or kept going, but I'll slowly back away from the shadow.
I'm going to assume they kept going because they probably
Right.
hadn't. Yeah. So
So I'll slowly back away from the shadow that no longer looks like Phaedric, and then seeing if the party's taken off, I'll run to catch up to them.
okay.
Andy, when you say you become visible, do you mean you're hiding, or are you actually invisible?
As my understanding is that as far as typical like vision eyesight works, I'm invisible.
Nope. Okay.
There may be other ways to detect that I'm there, but like sight, I can't remember if it's like a slight shadow, Ken, or if it's just as far as anyone can tell I'm invisible.
Well, I mean, you're still experimenting with it, but yeah, that's probably as good a way to explain it right now as any. Is just kind of you're very shadowy, so you're very hard to detect visually.
Right. Okay, so yeah, so once I see Phaedric, I materialize fully, I guess.
Okay.
See, it doesn't look like him anymore.
Right.
And with the sort of thought, oh, like if you see someone like you think you know, and like you go up to wave them and say hi, and realize it's not them, so you kind of awkwardly, kind of like you're waving at the person behind them, or like, oh, that's right, I remember the thing over in the other direction. And just kind of walk off.
I left the gas on.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll run up and catch up with the party.
All right. All right. So, in a matter of a few more minutes, you do indeed make it to the Great Hall, where you see a number of these shadowy creatures scurrying about, doing servant type actions. So, son, blooded virgin is what you want, is it?
Nine, you misunderstood. I was asking you what your preferred drink was. Huckabus? Huckabus prefers a nice ale. Perhaps some wine every now and then. Mead's okay, but it's got to be the right mead. You understand?
Your mother had a taste for mead.
Is that how the courtship went?
No, just say she couldn't hold it very well.
I'm fairly proud to say I did not inherit that from her.
So, what is it you wanted to discuss?
Well, this seems like an interesting place. Seems like everything but you is rather shadowy. What's that about?
Well, time has almost come for the end of the pact.
Is this another age thing?
Well, I mean, they tried to stop it, but yeah, you could call it another East thing.
And so what happened?
Oh, nothing happened. They were willing to pay a reasonable price.
Sorry, Ken, I didn't follow that.
But no, well, nothing happened. They were willing to pay their price.
But have they doubled down? Have they paid the game? Is there more to come?
I mean, you should know. Weren't you traveling with the keeper?
Traveling with the what?
The
What is he
keeper?
talking about, Hucklevis?
Hucklevis actually looks at you and like gives a big, I don't know.
How about you, Corey?
The keeper?
Out of character, do you know?
The keeper of what?
No, out of character, do you know, Corey?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an idea. I bet you it was female.
So anyhow, I'm certain they told me that there was a member of that group that looked exactly like you. I mean, before Hucklevis. Traveling that little gnome girl with the big mouth.
Right. Troublemaker.
Well, she had the pact. She had the contract.
Ah. Always filled with surprises, that one.
If you say so. But that's all right. If y'all didn't want to pay, that's fine.
What was that last bit, Ken?
If y'all didn't want to pay, that's fine.
What were we required to pay? This is kind of news to me.
It's all spelled out in there. You were one of her protectors. I assumed she filled you in on everything.
One would say.
Do you happen to have a duplicate of that contract?
What's that?
Do you happen to have a duplicate of that contract? I haven't been here that long. I'm a little bit curious.
And wait, Hucklevis,
Yeah.
in one of your drunken ramblings one evening, you mentioned a woman that you said was a bit like me. Her name started with an S. Is that who we're speaking of here? Was it like Sophie or something?
I assume we were speaking of Rosebud.
Rosebud? You said that she was an oaf.
Elven
And all she wanted to do was kill things.
At various points in our relationship, that was definitely her goal. Now, if we're speaking of Sophie, last I saw her, she was in a ward in a temple in Neverville.
At least her body was, huh?
If you could be more specific there, Dargonian, please. We're just a bit confused.
About what?
About who our friend here has to recollect.
No, I think we hit it on the head there. I'm not sure.
How many gnomes did you travel with, son?
That
One,
would
and
be
he's
good.
standing right there.
Wait.
I never had the pleasure of meeting Rosebud. She sounds interesting.
Right, very unfortunate at the hands of the ghost pirates. At least the most recent time.
Yeah, and then you said she got eaten by a manicore once? That's
Yeah. I still have her pain. He pulls out a little
Dargonian,
bit.
do you think she was even aware she made such a pact? Because Corey doesn't know she did it. You know what I mean? Oh, yes, she's very aware she made that pact. I am Corey's being very, very stupid. Yes.
We're all very good at that.
Yeah. Now I do remember, Hucklevis. You said that she came back once, didn't she?
Yeah.
And you said that
What was there for that?
you saw that, Mordecai.
Saw
When Rosebud came back.
she was. I saw her briefly. She was here for. Only was more than a few weeks.
Right?
But okay, so yes, you know, again, in our travels and our stories, you talked about that there was a man named Derek, and he left with a large orc woman named
Rexa.
I don't remember what her name was.
Rexa.
Risa, yeah, that's her. Yeah, Rexa, that's her.
He was a
And
Personal favorites of mine.
and yeah, you said that she was kind of an asshole. So it's but then you came across Rosebud again, the one that was eaten by the Manicore.
Yeah.
And then I also remember in a rambling one time. I'm sorry, I'm doing this, Ken. I don't have any choice.
You're doing great.
That you went to a temple one time and
I love it.
she gave herself to a lord of some sort. Or so, yeah, I mean, it was a very convoluted story that day. But you said that's where you got the circlet that you understand all languages.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that happened a long time before then.
No, you got that circlet at that temple when Rosebud got linked with Star and what's her face went away the same day, and then they got linked together. Remember?
Right.
That's exactly what happened. So, and his name was Theonius or something like that. Or something. I don't remember exactly what it is. But is that what you're speaking of? Is that because she went to Plain and some other, and then that big dwarf came out, you said, for a while, and he stayed at the mines. You told me this whole story one night. You probably don't remember because you were very intoxicated.
No, Goodfellow's that dwarf, of course. I think Royce was his name.
I do not know. You never mentioned the name. You just said that he was very aggressive and he fought well.
Oh, Bothfic, the punch-up.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
So Dalgarian, you know,
All these
if we
things that I'm still unsure of what happened to Nazarene.
I think that's what it is. I think that when she gave herself or bonded with the person named Star, you said, I think, is that the pack you're speaking of, Dalgarian?
All eyes turn to the Devil Lord.
He gives that toothy grin again, and he looks at Hucklevis and kind of looks over his possessions that are visible, and he says, "What a tangled web you have led, eh, son? I don't know what you're talking about."
So then it has to be that other woman. The one that you...
Do you have the possessions of this gnome?
Again, he pulls out Pain and says, "Yes, I have a Spectral's weapon right here."
I've been rolling a perception check.
Is that everyone? Nope.
I got a 14 on that.
Mort's got a 24.
11. Rolled 5 in a die, 6 in the numbers.
Nice.
5.
Ooh, very, very nice.
That's right.
All right. Carry on.
Huckleberry says, "Is this the possession of which you refer?"
Does that look like a contract?
As far as I know, the contract went overboard with her.
Yeah. What unfortunate.
Aye. Makes the last couple of months seem kind of silly.
What's that?
I said it makes my last couple of months seem a little silly. I missed the one big thing. All for nothing.
It happens.
Well,
Got that from your mother as well.
what?
So anyhow, nice trip down memory lane.
I suppose so, yeah.
But I don't think we've gotten anywhere.
9. But Huckleberry does pull out his fancy drinking mug and look at it plaintively.
The big guy motions to some of the shadows, and they bring over a big pitcher and fill your mug.
Huckleberry kind of gives him a little salute and takes a sip. What's it taste like?
It tastes like the brew you got from Marisara's people.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Surprising.
We might actually see Huckleberry
So
smile
whether-
there.
A rather meaty taste, as it were.
Yeah.
Meaty.
Yep.
So, Targaryen, there's a lot. There's been a bunch of riddles helping us come to a pact, which I've already made one.
What riddle do you
And-
speak of?
We had this conversation already, Targaryen.
What
I
riddle do
served
you speak of?
Taliesin.
Right. You said there have been a lot of riddles. I asked what riddle you speak of.
Well, you keep okay. It's just the easiest way to have a conversation is to be outward with it. So
What have
you
I not-
could have said
what
that
have I
there
not been
was.
outward with? Have I not been a gracious host?
You have.
This is all.
You have, and I'm not saying that you weren't gracious, but what I'm saying is that what should Huckleberry be having or looking for? Was there an actual document that this Rosebud should have had on her?
I saw it delivered to her myself.
Well, unfortunately, everything that was on that ship is burned. So if it was on the original ship that we arrived to the islands in, it's gone, sir. And the only thing that I believe he kept was that dagger. Is that correct,
Hard-
Huckleberry?
Then it shall be hard to fulfill. I suppose.
Huckleberry pulls out. He has a Netherese crossbow that's never been charged. That I don't know
Right.
if that belonged to her or not. And he says that's the only thing I can imagine, and he puts it on the table.
But he said there was a
At least it was
document, Huck.
the same-
I
It
know.
was the same clay.
What?
I mean, we have fulfilled our side. We have spoken to the keeper. We provided her with a copy of of the agreement.
Dargonian, are you saying that this little girl made a deal with you, or with another infernal being?
She herself did not make the deal. It was her office
Ah,
millennia ago.
now, and you're saying you don't have another copy of the contract?
Oh, I do. I'm saying I'm not giving it to you.
Like, we don't want to have it. We just want to see it so we know what you're talking about.
I'm afraid if you have managed to lose your side of the contract, then
So none of
It's
us
not
here
right.
are signatories in that contract.
Well, maybe Huckavis and Mort, but certainly not Fierai and Onyx.
so
So what entailed in the contract?
you can speak to the keeper.
Well, how do we do that?
Speak with dead. I don't know. Raise dead. There are a number of ways to speak with a deceased entity.
Do you have a clerk in this village?
Hmm. Your who was that? Is that Nathan?
Yeah.
The denizens of this village have powers now, but not of that sort.
What kind of powers?
Might I suggest that we adjourn and you allow us to return to our plane for about 24 hours? We'll speak with our people there and come back with greater knowledge of your contract. Or you could just show us your copy.
What do you think, son?
I think I'm very confused as to why a signatory of the Rosebud would have included me without my knowledge.
I never said it included you. I mean, it depends on how technical you want to get. I mean, certainly the entirety of, your plane has a stake in it. But, I mean, I assume you're no more signatory than that. But, I mean, again, we have fulfilled our half of the bargain. We have provided the contract, and we are not acting until the agreed upon time.
Right.
Right, and the price that must be paid is in blood. Am I right?
Right.
Ah, what kind of blood?
What? That was
As
me.
wiping his forehead and flicking some dried blood on the table, he says, "What kind of blood?"
Says right there on the paper.
Oh, for
We don't have the paper. He's
Hey,
trying to
you
stay
make me,
as calm as he can, but he's
you don't have the paper tag.
Don't make me, what is it, whatever sense motive is nowadays.
Inside.
Okay.
What are we inciting? What's inciting?
I was.
I got nothing.
I got 21.
Mort's got a 16.
Stopping 10.
All right, so Mort and Tristan, you may have figured this out already as players, but the characters, basically, he clearly is happy to have an advantage, and he has less than no intention of showing you the contract. He feels that he has done what he was obliged to do, and if you lost it, you in the plainer sense, if your side of the deal lost it, then that's your problem and not his. So I mean,
Right.
you can
So
keep trying to get him to give it to you, but he's clearly not going to do it.
Wait, Dargonian,
Right.
if we got nothing to discuss, why'd you bring us here?
That was my idea.
Oh, you wanted to come home. I heard you bitching about that for days and days, weeks and months. Thought it'd be nice to see my son, see how he'd grown up. And
Would you mind sending us back then?
well, the time is almost up, so if that's what you want,
Is there any way you'd be willing to strike a new deal?
I'm
Yeah,
listening.
could we revise the contract? Not that we want to have it, but maybe Hukovich has to have it.
No one has that. To be clear, I mean,
Right. So
very easily you
But-
could
but-
just all, if you all
When the
wanted
person
to.
that has it
walk
is
away,
deceased,
be
wouldn't
done.
the contract end?
I'm sorry.
The person that you had the contract or the keeper had the contract with is deceased. They cease to exist any longer. So wouldn't that cut off the other side of the contract?
Well, it would pass to the next keeper.
Well, who is that?
I have no idea. I frankly don't care.
What did you say, Ken?
You either pay the price or you do not.
Yeah,
The
it would be
Netherese
passed
were
on to the
much
next.
more efficient. Those Netherese were much more efficient at this than you lot seem to be. Highly disorganized.
So at that point,
Then give it to one of the Netheries.
so as this is going on, I'll take out, which I haven't done anything with since I got it, a little vial of the silver liquid that was used to charge up the weapons. I'll take it out and set it on the table, along with the rapier.
Okay.
That never charged up. And so looking at Dargonian, you seemed okay with maybe reworking this contract. What would interest you?
I think what Mort's saying is if we were to sign a new contract, we'd have to know what the contract is before we signed it.
Well, of course, foolish to sign a contract without knowing what it was.
Exactly. And seeing that you have no intention on telling us what the old contract is, why don't you share us what a new contract could be?
Well, I think the most important issue here is not what I want, but what exactly can you offer?
He asked me this before, gentlemen. You wouldn't have liked the answer that I had.
I'm curious. What was the answer?
And he's not going to tell you what the answer was.
I assume as a devil, you'd be talking in souls.
You'd be talking what?
In souls as currency.
And
The
Tristan looks at
original pact,
D'Artagnan and goes,
As Huck mentioned,
sorry.
Huck did mention the original pact. He seemed to remember had blood involved.
Right.
Right, Huck?
Wait, your son's covered in blood right now.
I already tried that.
I vaguely remember. It seems like there was something about the blood of 10,000 Netherese. To sign to bind the
You
contract.
have this to offer?
The blood of 10,000 Netheries? Really?
When did you say your village disappeared, Mort?
It was about 20 years ago.
Now, did that happen to coincide with any sort of infernal offerings or stirrings?
In the village?
No, in the world as a whole.
Huckavus kind of raises his hand.
Huck, Do you have a comment?
It's about when I came about.
I see.
I mean, plus or minus a few years. I've never been very quite clear because nowhere was nowhere.
Right.
And I wasn't really out in the world at that point.
Also, not
Go ahead.
too far off from the whole Neverwinter invasion.
Right.
The original,
He's also not
right.
too far off from when Tristan. Yeah. All of this all lines up to the same as when Tristan's life changed and he went to the Elysium as well.
So perhaps, well, lads,
Wait. What happened with you 20 years ago?
His parents died at the hand of a
No. Teferi.
Teferi, yeah.
nothing happened to me 20 years ago, guys. I'm just trying to connect the dots.
Oh, that's boring.
I know.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
Sorry, carry on, man.
Tristan, were you revealing backstory that somehow when we add all of these deaths together, we get to about 10,000?
If not, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, it's rather clever, actually.
So if we are to deal with a reconstruction of the possibility of this pact, perhaps about every 20 years, the infernal forces owe an allegiance to you or maybe some higher being, require a sacrifice on behalf of the keepers, on behalf of the world. You can smile a little if I'm getting warm, Dargonian.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were speaking to him. I thought you were still.
I assumed he was there.
Yeah.
Unless he's really polite and just steps out whenever we start talking amongst ourselves.
You're not so far off as you were.
Right.
So the keeper is looking for souls.
I don't know how
Listen.
they acquire what they acquire, but I suppose looking for them might be part of the job. It's a pity she's dead. She could have told you all this.
What's dead?
Rosebud.
Keep-
I think the keeper was Rosebud.
Right.
That's
At least that's what she told him in that dungeon.
right. You lied. Yep, that's my first.
Wait, who? What?
You had very sticky fingers, as you said there, Huckleberry.
So the first
How
session.
surprising. She got herself involved in something she didn't know.
Yeah.
So then, Dargarian, the long and the short of it is we could talk around in circles like this forever. If you have a deal...
In no circles.
Well, but we are. You know what I mean? You can think how you want, and that's fine. But if there's a new deal, and he looks over at the rest of the party, I personally would be interested in seeing what said deal is. Because as I told you, I want to go back to the Elysium. And that is it. Whatever I have to do that, I will do that. And then he looks back at the party again.
Yeah, what of the rest of you? Doesn't sound like much of a deal. Well, whatever you will do to do that, that sounds like a fine deal to me.
Right.
As I
I'm not
told you
quite-
before, I can get you back to the Elysium.
Yeah, but I want to be
Price.
whole and go back to Elysium. I don't want to be one of the spirits that travel there.
You're being a
What of
little-
the rest of you?
Not particularly interested in making a deal for the fate of the world. To be perfectly honest, Dargonian. particularly for on the sums of 10,000 souls.
Those were your words, not mine.
I will. The gist. If you care to give me your terms now, if those are not them,
Morton Huck.
Huckabus picks up his fancy cup and downs what's left of it and slams it on the table and says, "Damn it, man! You say you're not talking in circles, but we're just repeating the same arguments over and over again. You want blood? You want blood? What about my blood?"
What about it, son?
Is that what you want?
No.
right?
I will make it easy on you.
On who?
But you in the plural?
Seem to be plural.
Okay.
Kind of look around. I can
The
hold
only
them
one not to
off.
speak is Mort.
Say it
I can
again.
hold them off.
I just said you haven't said anything yet. I mean, what do you think of the matter?
Right. Yeah.
He seems to be about to speak. Maybe we should let him.
Well, I wanted to know what he was
I
going to.
can hold the invasion off for 5 more years.
At what
And
cost?
look straight at Huck because for the blood of your aunt.
Huckabus just stone cold stares back, says, "That is not mine to offer."
Why not?
5 years, Burgundian. You seem to be
I'm sorry?
Yes, 5 years. You seem to be a bit player in this scheme. Can we talk to your superior?
That was a real
Oh. As you see, I'm not a denizen of the Shadowfell.
We did see that.
I have my own goals in this. So you're right. Not an untrue statement. I am but a bit player.
Then fill us in on the goals, please.
Not questions.
No.
Every infernal invasion?
I will clarify for you that this doesn't actually look to be an infernal invasion.
Okay.
Based on, well, again, we'll stick with the Huck telling tales while inebriated.
Yeah.
Airplane. Give me a second.
And what you guys know of the Shadowfell is much more.
Ken, a moment of clarification. When he referred to my aunt, he was talking about Mara, Charlie's wife.
That's a very good guess. Yes.
Uh-huh. Now, Huckabus reiterates, "There's nothing amount to offer for 5 more years of delay. Why not just rip the Band-Aid off now?"
Hey, Ken, your mic's echoing like crazy now.
How about now? Is that
No.
better?
Yes. So
Yeah. Okay. Says that's what I have to offer.
And tell me, where is my place if you just carry forth with this plan today?
Say again.
Where is my place if you just carry forth with this plan now?
Based on what I have seen recently, you could have a place by my side.
What does that mean exactly?
You can learn. I'll take you under my wing, so to speak. You can fulfill your destiny.
At what price?
Child of
At what price?
simple obedience and deference, as is due to your father.
You know that I'm not very good at being those things. I had a better word. I don't
What was that
have.
last part?
Subservient is a good word.
Let me just start that again. If you followed me, you should know that I don't have a very reliable track record of being respectful. And he's kind of smiling at this point.
We could chalk it up to wayward youth.
9-9. He would chalk that up to being Novel.
Well, that's
And he means that in a
no longer an issue.
He doesn't mean that in a royal.
That's no longer an issue.
Nowhere.
Go ahead, Carl.
But he means that in a capital nowhere, not a figurative nowhere.
Right. And his response is similar. He says, "Well, that's no longer an issue now, is it?" And he smiles.
So what? We're going to go rain bloody hell over a bunch of different planes of existence?
That's what they're going to do. Yes.
Now, who is they?
The folk of the Shadowfell, their powers and the such.
When you say
Demon.
Shadowfell, Tristan points at Fear, like, you're right.
Fear and Mort, roll me a perception check. The rest of you carry on.
That's a nat 20.
Okay.
Nice.
Look, it's a
You
2.
were in Mort, you were in nowhere, right?
I believe briefly, yes.
You were.
Yeah, you got transported there with us once. Well, hello?
We all seem to be muted.
I was typing.
Ah,
Okay,
So
cool. So if we do this thing for you,
yes.
back to normal, and he says that as if normal isn't really a thing, obviously.
If you make this new agreement, is that what you mean?
Well, yes.
Well, this
If we
thing,
do your
I
bidding.
don't want to talk in riddles and puzzles.
Right. So if we do your bidding, does our
Yeah.
life go back to what we were before this?
Your lives are your own. I will make no promises to what they become, but I shall not interfere with them. I shall return you to your whence you choose to return.
At that point,
For example,
Onyx appears.
More-
He's been invisible the whole
more-
time. And he looks at Tristan and he says, I want to go back. So if we have to do whatever this fucking guy wants, I want to go back. And Tristan looks at him and says, you have a deal between us two. Because we want to leave here.
Tristan,
And he doesn't look at anybody else and made his own decision.
What are you even agreeing to?
I do not care, Mort. I do not care. I need to get out of all of this and go back to Elysium and live my life that it was on before. Meeting you, 3, Sarfir, has turned everything upside down. I need to go back. So whatever that entails, that's what I'm doing. You don't have to do these things. But me and Onyx, we're going to be doing that. I don't care what the deal is.
While this is going on, Huckleberry is surreptitiously playing with his rattle.
Yep.
And he sees what happens if he turns it one size clockwise. One turn clockwise.
What are you thinking might happen?
Oh, you know, in the past, planes changed. I think that always involved walking, though. So.
And as Huggabus is doing that, I'll go ahead and place what I picked up on the table.
Okay.
Huggabus, does this look familiar to you? And
Does what look familiar?
right. So what I place on the table are some mechanical pieces, some gears, some cogs. Very, very similar. Not exactly the same as what was in Neverwinter, or not Neverwinter. Sorry, Nowhere. And part of the reason that part of the reason I'm putting it on the table is because I don't remember exactly what happened there with them. I remember that there were some gears, some cogs in Neverwinter, or sorry, I keep saying Neverwinter, in Nowhere, that we found or ran across. I don't remember what the significance of them was at the time. I don't know if you're.
But that was when Derek found his patron.
The
Or, you know what I mean? His
you might not
Lady
remember, but when we came across these, my friend Mort, there was a demon or a devil. It's often hard to tell, and he kind of gives not a mocking bow, but a very slight bow towards Papa there, and says, and
He gives you a look of disgust.
good. And he was trying to assemble those things into something. This was all part of Lady Machina's big fear.
I don't know that he gave up then. These were just over in the corner there. I think he might still be trying to do that.
Wait, you just picked those up in this room?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. With that, he's going to look at Big Papa Devil there and say, well, what of it?
Those were left here by the folks that are coming to visit you soon. No hurry. No big deal. Don't worry about it.
The folks that are coming to visit me?
Well, all of you, your families. Well, not your family, Mort. They're safe here.
They didn't seem very safe.
Look at them. Look around you. They're all perfectly safe.
I saw Phaedric. He didn't seem very safe.
I don't know which one that is, but they're all fine. They move around.
That's not life. That's not living. You said you kept them as servants, as slaves. Is this part of the bargain that you struck with the keeper?
Oh, no.
Is it just for fun then?
These were a price that was paid for not doing what was agreed upon. You should never, ever, ever break your deals. Right? And he looks at Tristan.
I do not intend on breaking any deal that I've made.
Good, good.
What would it take to fix that deal?
He kind of looks around. You mean this one? And kind of looks at the town.
Yeah. Let's start.
Well, you ask a lot of difficult questions, don't you? What do you have to offer?
Tristan just uggs. Ugh.
Well, I'm sorry, Darganian. A creature as powerful as you is on such a different level. I don't know what you would value. You'll have to help me
What do
out.
you value?
I value my family, this village. Those aren't apparently in my power to do anything with at this point.
Right, I possess those now. That's correct. What else do you have to offer?
I've got this vial of liquid.
And 5 copper.
I don't have that much. Don't put words in my mouth, please.
Oh,
No, I've got some gold, but I can't imagine that a being that has an entire village would care much about a few gold pieces.
Oh, nothing as trivial as gold. He looks around. Perhaps your friends can help. What do y'all have to offer for this fine village?
This isn't their price to pay. What do you want? What interests you?
I'm sorry,
Service?
you're going to have to. Service.
Would you like me to steal something for you?
This is the same conversation we had alone, Mort. And again, you don't want to know what I was willing to give up.
That would be 3 of you.
It was the 3 of them.
That would be 3 of you. What about you?
Is he speaking to Mort?
No, it looks at Führer.
what about me?
How much do these how much do your companions mean to you?
Same as any free folk. They don't need to be in a demon's grips.
I agree. Being in the grip of a demon would be quite terrible.
All right, so sorry, a devil or whatever. You're up
Would
for
you
Would I?
would you sign with them?
A deal with the devil?
Quite literally.
No, I wouldn't.
Pity. Could have had an accord. Sorry, Mort. You'll have to come up with something different, I guess.
You never answered my question as to whether or not that was anything you were interested in. Would it have to be all of it? I mean,
I did answer your question.
Wants our souls and our service.
I never offered my soul.
Your friend, if I could have gotten the set, then I might have considered an arrangement. But sadly, he has no interest in saving your kinfolk.
I don't blame him. That's why I said before, it's not their price to offer. It's not their price to pay for this.
Can't save them anyway. He's
And
offering
yet-
you 5
and yet-
years and an invasion or an invasion. There's no deal there.
That's what he's offered us so far.
Right.
He does keep getting better. If we talk to him for another 2 hours, I feel like we can get him up to 10 years,
10 years in an invasion. Right.
which is twice as good.
I suppose in the life of a halfling.
Surely the Netherese will have figured out who the keeper is by then, and will have another chance at fulfilling the term.
I believe the Netherese no longer exist.
Then how was the keeper there that night?
So I believe she wasn't.
Looks like there was no contract. Glad we solved this. So, moving on.
Yes. Very well. Move on if you'd like. What do you think,
So-
son? You've been quiet lately. Considering my proposition?
Talking to you, Carl. And you're muted.
I'm actually terribly sorry. I had to run in a circle as a neighbor was beating on my front door, so I don't know what our proposition is. I'm sorry.
Was someone stealing your refrigerator?
Not yet.
His earlier proposition of joining him.
Wherein I join him.
Yeah.
To which I say, well, I still don't understand the purpose. If I join you, what am I going to be doing? Leading mass armies? Infiltrating? Going back to just being Hucklevis somewhere? You'll have to tell me more about a plan. Meanwhile, did all you bitches cut a deal while I was gone? Is that what's
Nope.
happening?
Not
I mean,
really.
just giving your immortal soul, but other than that, no, we really didn't do anything.
He doesn't have one. He's a tiefling.
And Tristan said that he will do what's necessary for him to be able to go back to the Elysium.
I was here for that. Yeah.
He thought he almost, big guy thought he almost had a deal till Fuhrer shut him down.
So, to be fair, I never offered him my soul. I just asked if that's what he would
Doesn't
like.
mean that's what he thought.
Right. No, but I mean, in terms of like contracts and offer and acceptance, like technically there was no contract there.
Right. There is no one has made a contract at this point.
Right.
Just
So and previously when I said that he never answered my question, I was asking. All I was doing was asking him if my service would be of any value to him. Like, he kept asking me what I had. I said,
right. And he said he did answer it because, and his way of answering it was that had all four of you agreed, then you could have made a deal. But so at least at this point, your service in and of yourself might not be enough, but it does have some potential value.
Hucklevis is going to raise his anti-drinking vessel as if he's expecting someone to just come fill it.
And they do.
well, that was
They scurry over.
Yeah. That was a.
Carl just left.
He didn't get a drink and he got pissed.
Yeah. I did not mean to run him off.
Dargonian, I don't mean to.
And then he's going to
Neighbor stole his Wi-Fi.
I'm back. Sorry. Going to raise it as if he's hoping or just expecting someone to fill it, and he's going to just look at Mort. He's going to wink a little, and he's going to look over at his father. He's going to say, "So what if I'm in? What if I bring Mort? What will you have of us?"
What? That's Ken asking. I didn't understand.
If I
If you join, I heard that. I just didn't hear the last couple words.
What if I join you? What if I bring Mort along? What would you have of us? What do you want us to do? I'm unclear. Right hand, learning, what is all this?
Well, I don't. There's no specific answer to that. There are, however, things that over the coming time period, there are things that will need to be done, and it might be helpful to have those who can do it a little more easily than I. Just a few errands.
Easier than you, but you're so powerful. Surely everything is easy for you. How could we do something easier than you?
Tell me, Mort, if you were to see me entering Neverwinter, what do you suspect the reaction might be?
Surely they'd all bow before you, right?
I said, what would it be? Now, what should it be?
Well, how did it work last time?
Seems like the city opened pretty quickly.
Seems like
So
what?
how well did it work out last time?
Exactly. How well did it work out last time, Huckamus?
Well, you got me out of the bargain, but I don't see what else it got you. What's that?
Well, between that time, as you recall, there were a number of less stupid of our kinfolk, or more stupid of our kinfolk, that stirred up a spot of trouble there, as you recall, and things are not quite as easy as they were before. Right?
Do you not have do you always have to appear as you are? I mean, surely you have the ability to. Okay, quickly. I feel like you. Sorry. Surely you have the ability to
Lawyer right now, it's awesome.
disguise yourself. To not appear as you are at all times. I mean, what is it you need to do that you couldn't disguise yourself for a brief period of time to do?
Well, you're right. That is a potential option, but I cannot be everywhere at once. I'm not omnipresent. I have, and he sighs, responsibilities that I must attend to. It would be useful to have agents.
Responsibilities to who?
Surely you know how.
To your damn father.
There are, has no one explained the hierarchy of Hell's to you, son?
I understand hierarchies of thieves guilds. I imagine it's very simple.
Interesting that you think you understand the hierarchy of thieves guilds. That's a tale for another day. There are greater devils and archdevils, and we must appease those who are, for now at least, above us, though perhaps in time that will change.
So this takes us back to what Thea brought up, I don't know, an hour ago, wherein he said, hey, let's talk to your higher up if you're so low down that you more.
I don't understand. You want to speak to my superiors?
Well, it seems that we might be stonewalled here at this point, perhaps.
Uh, son. Intelligence was never your strong suit, was it?
What?
Intelligence was never your strong suit, was it?
Nope.
He kind of looks around, trying to see if he sees a glint of intelligence in any of your eyes. Any of you more than like a 12?
Oh yeah, Fear's got like a 16.
Okay. He stops with you, Fear, and he says, you get it, right? You understand why I wouldn't want to tell my superiors that I was making a power play, right?
Oh, absolutely, which is, I don't believe we're getting anywhere. I'm not interested in selling the world down the river, and it seems like somebody already
World's
had.
going down the river anyhow, son. World's going down the river anyhow, son. You can decide if you want to save some of it or what. That's up to you.
Do you even have the power to save any of it? What are you?
As you pointed out earlier, I can delay things. I can buy you some more time, but I can't stop it. That's not my place. My superiors couldn't stop it. I mean, short of an all-out assault, a war, and that's just not going to happen. I'd much rather have you, the Shadowfell, fighting you guys than us.
Right, and that's just the thing. I mean, Neverwinter might fall, but the whole world won't.
Your call. You don't. He looks around. You don't think this is the invading army, do you?
No. This is a village of hobbits.
Right.
Halfling.
Whatever. It's the same thing. In Dwarvish, it's hobbit.
It's offensive.
Is
I
it?
got that. We're totally different from what you think we look like gnomes too. Fucking gnomes.
You're definitely not gnomes. I mean, I see no cookies and no shoes.
That's a stereotype. Most of us would choose.
There's the Nathan Andy bickering that I miss so much.
I'd like to look down at your feet real quick, Mort.
I said most of us, not all of us.
Right.
Because it's quieter.
They're right.
It's the exception that proves the rule.
Ah. Right. Back to the demon at hand. I mean, devil. Sorry, sir.
You're quite bad at identifying creature types.
I mean, you look big and stupid, but
Whoa.
I probably am.
you've been talking to us for quite a while, and I don't think you've gotten anywhere.
I don't have to be anywhere.
Right. Nor do we.
You're the ones that have a deadline. I'm just waiting.
The world
made you
deadline.
several offers
Nobodies.
that you. I'm sorry?
The world's got the deadline. We're 5 nobodies.
You're right. You've got a valid point. And if that is the case, then we're all wasting our time here. So, yeah. It's probably, 3-4 months before it snows? It'll be good.
Right.
Well, Hucklevis will stand up, down his drink again, put his cup back in his pouch and say, "Well, Faza, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Perhaps the next time we meet, we can come to some kind of agreement. But I think for now, Hucklevis Nover is going to find his way southward."
Very well.
reaches out his hand. He's actually like, yeah, come on, shake on it, buddy.
Your father gives that thingy grin again, and he'll accept your hand.
I didn't understand what you said, buddy.
He gives a toothy grin and accepts your hand.
Oh, accepts the hand. I thought you said looks at the hand. I'm like, okay. Manly handshake, and Huckavis is going to exit the building.
Okay. The rest of you?
Moving right along with Huck.
What's that?
Going with
Corey?
Huck.
All right. Mort?
So is it only service that interests you? What? Surely there's some. Damn it, Dargonian! I want this village back.
Village is in good hands. Clearly,
It's in the wrong.
you and your companions don't want anything all that bad. Maybe another day.
All right, I'll pick up the gears. I'll pick up the vial. I'll pick up the sword, and I'll follow out after.
All right. Tristan? No, not Tristan. Fear.
No. Who?
What?
No, Fear already left with
Okay.
Huckavis.
I just leave Tristan.
Yeah, just Tristan. So, yeah, Tristan will wait until he knows that they're gone.
Yep.
And he'll look at him and say, "If you would I have to give up Talisid and all that I know?"
That depends on the deal now, doesn't it? What is it that you want?
I don't want to be controlled by anything anymore. Let it be you, let it be Talisid. All of these things. I want to be
I'm
my
gonna
own
make
man.
I'm gonna make a special request. If everyone else would mute their speakers for a minute, you're welcome to listen to this.
They can't do that, unfortunately.
Why can't they mute the speakers on their machines at home? Not their mics, their speakers.
Just send me it. Put a message in the chat when
Yep.
you want to.
Oh, you don't want us to listen.
Right.
Oh, okay. You got it, buddy. Yeah. That's a button to press somewhere. There we go. Done. You
All
can
right.
hear me, but I can't hear you. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. No, I'm muting myself now.
All right. I can likely broker your freedom. I ask
And I will
that
not be
you-
tied to any. Will I not be tied to anybody?
I think I can make that deal for you. But it is not a cheap cost. And there will be a time it will take time. Here's my price. You must get me the service of each of your companions as well as yours for 1 year's time.
In 1
I
year's
will
time.
give you I will give you your freedom, and I will delay the invasion for that time period.
Okay. He looks over to Onyx, and he goes, "We'd be free. If you want to go back to the Feywild, you could do that." And Onyx goes, "This long, buddy. It's been like 170 years. Look like a kid still. You look like you're 17, but it's been 170 years. I'm just as ready for this to be over as you are." And then he looks up at the enormous figure and says, "So it's So if we make this deal with you, buddy, he and I, me and my, me and my buddy, if we can get the other three to work with us and work with you."
I will. At the end of the year, you will not be indebted to me, and I will sever your ties to.
Release him.
Yes.
Pretty good deal there, Talcid. I mean, I'm sorry, Tristan. Yeah, it's something else. I will accept that deal.
I will give you 30 days to secure their agreement.
And if I cannot,
We have no deal.
I'm sorry if you said something I didn't hear.
Then we have no deal.
No deal. Yes. So now you've given me two numbers. I have a year's time, or I have 30 days.
You have 30 days to secure your friend's agreement.
Okay.
You must all four serve me for a year.
And what would be entitled in that service?
I'm sorry? I didn't hear you.
What would be entitled in that service?
Entailed? Running some errands.
Do we just need to be your
Cleaning
mortal
up
beings? Because as you said, it's
Not
not
that
so
different
easy to
from
walk
what we have
around.
right now, but instead of a lifetime of servitude, you would only have a year.
Again, Onyx looks at Tristan and goes, "It doesn't sound like a bad idea to me, man. Another year? We can do another year doing anything." Yeah. It's not going to be easy for me to make them. Yeah. He's only been with us for a few days.
Yes, he will
He
be
has
the
no
most
bond
difficult
to
one.
us.
I will. I will be willing to offer Mort and Huck some of the things we discussed earlier. If that helps. But I suppose your job is to find out what Fear wants.
I think I can secure certainly Morton Huckavis. I think fear is going to be near impossible. And I would, a deal is something that needs to be able to be made. I don't think I can.
Well, you've got some time to figure out who he is and what he might want.
It's very desirable to me.
I suspect it is. And me as well.
Sign said deal.
I'm sorry?
What do I have to do to sign said deal?
As I said. We'll, when you have the four signatures ready, we will.
And during that year's time, Sir Talus did. Does he know that this is the end game?
Yeah.
You're echoing a lot again.
I see no reason you can't continue to serve him. I mean, he is your patron. I am but your,
Yeah, he's
your friend.
He is. He's like my father, to tell you the truth.
Well, it is time that when we grow up, we wish to separate from our fathers, isn't it?
It looks like you're having that issue with your son right now.
Yes. Perhaps. We shall see. So, it sounds as though we have at least an initial accord. You know how to contact me.
So if I was to, the same way that I would contact Taliesin, if I was to try to contact you, the same way it would work, is that correct?
That will, for a time, we can make that work.
Sounds like a plan. Good day, sir.
Very well.
And Tristan walks out of there. The chat is hilarious.
In the back.
They can come back.
Yep. Are we all back?
Carl doesn't seem to get it.
We can begin a little bit without Carl. We could unmute him. That mean he's not going to be there.
Damn it. I typed it
I
wrong.
was over here reading his chat.
Wait, did you hear all of that, Andy?
I heard none of that.
Oh. No matter, because you don't know what happened.
All right. So it seems like everyone's back now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, so
So
Tristan
after
and then Ken, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
And he's just shaking his head, and he goes, "That guy is impossible to deal with. Impossible. It's he's just like a really amped up version of you, Hugvis." I guess that makes sense because you're your father.
Did you not manage to sell your soul?
I didn't sell anything. Why would I sell something?
Whatever agreement you were interested in.
What makes you think I made an agreement?
Well, you mentioned
in the conversation I had earlier.
next to you in there that you would do anything to get back to Elysium. And now it's been, a good couple minutes. So I have to assume you were talking to him about that.
We had a conversation. It didn't
Right.
end the way I wanted.
Imagine that.
I think that would absolutely run as a family. Meanwhile, my proposal that we run as far away from my family as we can. And we were patching a plan to go steal a book. What do you say?
But didn't you say we had to head towards Candlekeep or something? I don't remember.
There's a echo on the channel.
Yeah, there's so much echo coming from you, Ken. It's not even funny. But yeah, I mean, it's I don't think he's going to hinder us from leaving.
I mean, the whole reason we wanted to go to Candlekeep was to try and find out more about these Netheries, figure out what deal it was they made in the past.
This nods his head, says, yes, that still seems like a going concern.
Right, but did we get any more information from that guy? Not really.
No.
Well,
No.
he did give us an interesting lead in that if we can get back to a plane where there's a cleric, we could perhaps request a summon dead spell to contact one of the Nethery's keepers. And that might actually enlighten us quite a bit as to what we're trying to do here. I believe we have until the snows come before the invasion.
About 3 months, yeah.
That's what I gathered as well.
That's why I said we should sail as far south as we can. I assume as we're
We just
walking,
never
we're
come
coming
back.
up on the docks. Is there a boat we can steal?
The Mechana is sitting there. It is unmanned.
Gentlemen?
Is it a four-person sailing ship? By any chance?
I mean, 4 sailors probably could do a fine job of it.
Yeah.
For
None of
other
them.
folks, might have a little more difficult time, but
Huck, what about your rattle?
certainly tryable.
Huckabus says, I'm feeling lucky. Let's at least give this a go. Worst case scenario, we have to swim. Worst case scenario, we drown. In which case, none of this matters for one hair, eh?
Absolutely not.
All right.
We're gonna try.
Ignominious TPK, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Kind of would enjoy dying to the ocean. She's a tough mistress.
Well, fair. Are there any not shadowy sailor halflings sitting around the dock that look like they're bored and want to come sail a ship with us?
There are only 6 not shadowy creatures that you've seen since you arrived. There's the 4 of you. There's Huck's dad, and there's Onyx.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with taking some of the shadows too. Do any of them seem like they want to come?
They do not.
Show hands, lads. Any of your shadows, sailors, looking for a life of adventure.
They don't respond. They don't respond to you anyway.
Stands up and uses his thaumaturgy to boom his voice, and he's going to roll some kind of deception or persuasion, I'm not sure which, and he's going to say, "Come, shadow sailors, it is time to leave. Huckabus commands it of you."
Yeah, that'd be persuasion.
I guess. 19. I don't know if that matters. Not so
Yeah,
much.
you can if you're talking back. Trying to talk to us.
Ken, you're muted.
I know. I was thinking. They don't seem to hear you at all. They don't respond in any way to your machination.
Huck shrugs his shoulders and goes on board and begins to look for how to raise a mainsail, whatever that is. He's just heard that word, raise the mainsail. He don't know what he's talking about.
Before the ship takes off, so still on the dock, can I try and turn shadow again, or however that actually works, and see if in that form I can talk to anybody or get them to come sail with us?
All right. You kind of have started to get used to making the shift, and you do see that some of the nearby shadows do take on a more familiar halflingy form.
So yes, I want to go up to him and try and say, "Hey, hi! I don't know if you remember me. It's Mordecai, the Thorngages from just down the road. I need some help. Can you help me sail the ship?"
A look of fear / terror, shock kind of crosses their face. We can't.
Why not?
If well, we can, but if we leave, the others will pay.
Wait, I'm actually kind of surprised that you can talk to me. What? How did this happen in the first place? Can you tell me that, or is
When we, as best I can tell, we were the price back during the invasion. Someone traded our village for the greater good of the region.
for 20 years? That's it. Do you know who it was that did that?
I don't.
Can anyone else hear or see what's going on?
You see 3 of these shadow halfling things just kind of hovering around each other, for lack of a better word.
I'd like to send a message to Mort, as I'm going to notice he's not there. And,
All right.
hey, what's going on? Where'd you go?
I'm trying to get some of these sailors to help us, but they say they can't.
Why not?
Well, you see, they say if they do leave, everyone else will pay.
How big is this village?
Call it 1,200 people.
How big is this boat?
Not close.
I mean, but
Maybe
they're half people.
50 people.
Even
100 if you cram them in.
Well, they're halflings, so that means like 200.
I'm halfling people.
Oh.
And the other problem is 2 or 3 could probably slip away if, many more than that, it would become noticeable.
Right. So yes, I don't think it's going to work here. If nothing else, you're unwilling.
Okay. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Move on. Back to your conversation.
I mean, they're just to be clear. I mean, they're unwilling, but only your feeling is they're unwilling because they don't want to cause problems for the people that are left. It's not that they don't want to help you, but they're weighing the price versus the
Right.
cost benefit in it.
So
No, I mean,
one
I don't blame.
message to you, Mort, just in if we need sailors and we're going to actually go after this. So there's the price of this village that's already been taken against the weight of the world if we don't go back and give warnings and organize and all that business.
Yeah, no, they're saying they can't leave no matter what. It doesn't seem to be a. They clarified. Said it was they can't, not they won't. Yeah, sorry if I didn't make that clear the first time.
I thought it was they can't because the people who stay behind will get hurt.
Out
Not
of character,
That's
yes,
what
that's
I'm-
exactly what they said. In
okay.
character, no. They said they can't. It was unclear the first time.
Okay, cool, Mort.
Can you? So back to the halfling. Are there any quick tips you can give me on how to sail a boat, a ship? I guess.
The biggest problem you're going to have is that you don't have a sail. There are no sails.
That does seem like it would be an issue.
Right. As you recall, when you came here, the sails were shadowy,
Right.
gossamer things.
I do remember that now. Is there any fabric in the town that we can steal?
You're gonna make a sail?
So while all that's been going on, Huckabus has been diligently trying to hold
Yeah.
and lower
Yeah, I
sails,
got another
and
idea.
nothing
Or,
happened. Just like pulling on ropes, right?
I thought that was kind of funny.
Nice.
Yes, you're having a difficult time figuring out how the sails work.
Especially without them being there.
Not the brightest bulb in the box.
Yeah. Well, Tristan walks more towards the center of the city. Nobody's aggressive towards anybody, right? They're just following what Dartarian is telling them, right?
They pay no mind to you.
Yeah. So just between the two of them, they have a conversation. Onyx and Tristan, and Onyx tells Tristan to go as far away from the city as he can to see if things change. As long as we're in the as long as we're still in the same plane of existence, he'll be able to communicate back to me.
You just want him to fly which way?
Just as if he's leaving the city, you know what I mean? So, just find your way out of the city and see what happens when he goes outside of the city. If he's unable to, my thought process is, if he's unable to communicate with me, I know he's on a different plane of existence, which we're not here anymore.
So, are you sending him out over the ocean or inland?
No,
or up
out into the land through the city, out into the land that's out there, out into wherever that goes.
And what, he can communicate infinite distance? Is that what you're saying?
As long as we are on the same plane of existence, I can communicate telepathically with my familiar, which he's my familiar.
How long do you want him to go?
I want him to go. I guess if we don't ever lose contact, then I want him to go. I want him to go until he loses contact, if that happens.
Well, and if it doesn't happen,
if that never happens.
I mean, if you tell him to go until he loses contact, then he'll just keep going. Could, in theory, just keep going forever.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And that's the end. You know what I mean? But he, a few miles outside of the village. You know what I mean? If nothing changes, then I'll have him just come back.
All right. So that's fine. He goes a couple miles out.
And I'm still able to communicate with him the whole time, so we're still on the same plane.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. He comes back. And I voiced that to Fear, because I don't think he went on the ship yet. That I went and had him do that, and it doesn't seem as if we can escape this plane.
All right. So I would have headed on the ship after talking to Mort and after getting the information that you sent him, and I'll be looking around to see if there's basically any arcane way to jumpstart this thing, and willing to invest however long it takes Onyx to go somewhere and come back.
Mm-hmm. When Onyx gets back, Tristan is going to concentrate and talk to Dartarian again. Can you hear me, Dartarian? I don't care that they can hear me this time.
Yeah.
We can't go along if we're stuck here.
Why not?
Because it's not going to be very productive.
You're not ready to be productive yet, is my understanding. Perhaps a little time here will help them with their decision, right?
Very well. And his answer to that is very well. So, yeah, you know what I mean? Tristan goes back in the boat, tries to figure out a way to make it so we can sail, so on and so forth. He lets Huckabus know that we could leave the town, through on the land, but we were still in the same place. But at least we're not stuck in this town. And your father's a bit of a pain in the ass.
Huck says, no doubt. So what did you see while you were
I
out
don't
there?
think we're gonna be able to sail this ship. I don't
No.
foresee us sailing the ship anywhere.
No,
I'm not a sailor. Are you?
it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah. It could be shelter at least. We could. I'm assuming it was like hooked to the dock because if it wasn't, it would float away. We could just let it drift away. I guess that's as much as sailing. Let the tides take care of us.
No, bad idea. Very bad idea.
I know. I'm just putting out the bad ideas right now.
Tristan, have you tried sending Onyx out over the water?
I have not. I figured going over the land was gonna be much better, seeing that I didn't have to swim for so long.
Well, I mean, maybe we can. Maybe there's a
Yeah,
rowboat.
we can do that. I send Onyx and a similar type of thing towards where I remember the islands being. Back the direction we came from.
Okay. Same
Same
result.
type of phenomenon. Same results. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. 5 minutes, 10 minutes passes, and Onyx comes back. Nope. Same thing, boss.
Well, unless we're willing to make a really bad deal for a very short period of time, I don't see much reason.
Do it. So okay. So now that we're not in front of Detarian, so on and so forth, I had a conversation with them. You know that.
Right?
You know that. None of the three of you are unintelligent. Some of us are more rash than others, but it's he needs somebody to serve him, and not to serve him that I think in like servitude. He needs somebody to be his voice. He needs somebody to be his face guy. It's your dad, Huckavis. Wouldn't you like to have had your family back? He's your family. If I could ever get those people back, I would give it up in a moment. But my parents have been dead for 170 years. And with the luck of the gods, Talus had found me and took me in and created me into what I am right now. But you have the chance to have family.
What are you proposing? That I go work for that monster?
I
That
don't think
become
it's so
the
much
monster
working.
that I'm always supposed to have been? Is that what you're proposing? And he's kind of getting a little close and a little like grinny face, as he's saying.
Yeah. No, I'm proposing that we figure out our lives and that we move along. Because if not, I think we're stuck here forever.
Forever is a very long time.
Yeah, no, I'm very aware of how long time can pass. I'm very aware.
So when you
Every
went
year in Elysium is 10 years.
down, forgive me, what did Onyx see when Onyx walked out of town?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
No, it's okay. If I'm not mistaken, you had Onyx walking
getting
down
robot-y.
for a while.
Yeah, no matter where I send him, it was the same thing. It is all the same plane. Whatever the Shadowfell plane or whatever we're on, it's everywhere. It's not like we can get away from it.
Go someplace else, so why don't we just go explore some Shadowfell?
Yeah, to be clear, it's not all the same thing. It terrain change and things of that sort. So I mean, there are things
Right.
that, as opposed to just a flight, big plane.
So I can assume, Ken, that if we were to travel out onto the land, it is the Sword Coast. I mean, it is like what we'd be accustomed to seeing.
Aye.
It's just in a different plane and in a different dimension.
It's not the first time we've been in a different dimension, North.
Correct. I understand.
And I will point out,
I'm very happy to just
Huck and Mort have found ways to get to different dimensions.
Aye.
Yeah. And Mort, you know
Yeah.
what the answer to this is if we do what he asks us, your village is restored. It's restored, my friend. And I'll tell you what my answer is. At the end of all of this, I'm not tied to anybody anymore. I get to be my own person again. And I haven't had that in so long. It's not an awful thing to have to work for somebody.
Is
You
this
work for Jay Cracker forever.
This is something you promised you,
Both
yes?
of you. Not, you know,
Sorry, what?
you just have a different employer.
It's a little bit different. I got a better feel for the type of person Jay was when he helped me out when I was just a stupid kid wandering around Neverwinter, almost getting caught stealing things. With what I know of this,
Tried to give you a high five.
right? What I know of Dargarian, stole my village out from underneath me. That's a much different type of person. I don't know that I want to just wholeheartedly work for him.
But do you want to save your village?
At what cost?
A year
don't-
of your life. A year of your life. That's the cost. Is all the people that you love and that boy that you said you saw, that you think you saw, worth a year of your life? How many years has it been since you've seen these people?
Huckabus is nodding his head up and down, and he actually says, I see, Tristan. So you've already made the deal. They're just asking us to go along with this.
He's asking us for 1 year's time.
To
That's
do
it.
what?
And Fear, I understand if this is not your, to be his voice is from what I understand. To be,
To say what?
as he told us before, it's a bit harder for him to move around because he looks, he looks even more intense than you, Huckabus.
We're supposed to be his heralds. We're supposed to go out into the real world and say, all hail the mighty demon.
No, running errands. It doesn't sound very much different than what you've been doing. So
Excuse
be our employer for a year. And as I was saying, Fear, I understand if you've met us in just a few days. If this is not your fight, you can go along. But I don't know if you'll be able to leave this plane.
So we don't know what he wants us to do. We don't know what his ultimate purpose is. And what he does is he asks us that he'll return a village to a place that's about to be invaded by the Netherese. And whether it be in 4
Yeah, but at
months
the end of it, the
or
Netherese aren't coming.
years. I'm sorry?
I forgot that part.
Right.
The invasion will be ended.
He already said he couldn't stop that.
Wait,
Why would he change his mind?
So now he says that he can stop the invasion.
I'm under the impression.
That sounds like an impression more than a reality.
The guy's not easy to talk to.
He's not even a major devil.
While we were in that meeting, he asked me to sign over the life of my mother's sister. And Huckabus then just kind of stares closer at you as if to say, and you think this is okay? That this is the kind of deals you want to make? He already has my mother's blood on his hands.
She is. But maybe you should have asked her. Maybe it's a deal she would have liked to have made. You didn't get that chance because you never got the opportunity to even try.
Not my place to consign another person to someone else's service. It's all totally different from Huckabus goes all murder spree and kills someone. That's Huckabus's responsibility. He accepts that. But to just say, yeah, sure, go take that person's life. Blah, blah, blah. No. And so you want me to go with you and him for a year. I mean, frankly, this is what I think I was trying to pose to dear Mort here. But I was trying to do it as an out. Seems like you're trying to do it as a way in.
No, the end game is that I want to be out of all of it.
Well, that's the end game
I
now.
want to be a free man like you, because I'm not a free person.
Time's not constant. A year could be a lifetime.
If it's something we can't decide upon, then we'll be stuck here forever, I believe.
It's a
Maybe we can walk down the road.
and the planes have doors. We'll be able to find a way out. It'll just take time.
Buckovus nods and kind of thinks of a map and perceives or thinks that Neverwinter's to the south, and
Which it is.
if we probably found a road and went.
Well, so here's the thing about that. If we were where my village was, yeah, there's a road not too far away that would lead us into Neverwinter. It would be easy. I can show you guys exactly where it was. But right now we're on the coast. Kipling was never on the coast. Like, it was up in the mountains, basically, or up in the hills. We're not where we were before.
Right.
Buckovus nods at this. Yes, very true.
But Neverwinter is on the coast, right? I've been there once before.
When,
Question is Neverwinter on the coast in this plane?
when Mort says what he did, Onyx perks up and says, I did see mountains when I flew inland.
I mean, if all we've got is time, we can see what's on the mountains, see if we can see anything else. But I don't know if we're going to be wasting time. It's going to be leading towards the invasion at the first snowfall.
Well, there's
I
a
mean,
couple of there's a snowfall, and I have 30 days.
I'm sorry.
To make the deal with your father,
Oh,
I have
you
30
put the
days.
time limit on your acceptance of bringing us all into this.
He did, and it is 30 days from now.
Uh-huh.
So if we can't find our way out, it might be the only chance we have.
Buckovus starts to whisper.
But I'm very try for 30 days.
Why don't we just take a nice long rest and come back tomorrow and beat the shit out of him?
You think we can beat him?
We'll all probably die, but we still are
What
on-
di-
Do
Really?
you really think we can beat him?
No. But what difference does it make?
Sounds good to me.
Seems like we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. We're stuck here as of A. Or we go work for the damned. And being a tiefling, I've tried to avoid the damned as much as I can. I know I haven't lived up to that very much, but
And then I will say Abyssal. Okay, because he speaks a lot of those. Well, no, in Celestial, because I know the other two don't speak that, so that Onyx can understand me.
I can understand.
Right, that's why I'm saying it. He looks at you and he goes, "You are the damned."
Who said that to him?
Tristan said it to Tuckovus. He's your father. It's still in Celestial the whole time. You are the damned. You can do some right with this.
Buck is going to get in your face, all up in your shiny elven grill.
Half elven face. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at the picture. I wasn't looking at the half elf. Yeah. And say,
Yeah.
now, why would working for evil be something that would do?
You trailed off real bad. I didn't hear it.
Why would working? I'm sorry. That's okay. I did. Why would working for evil be something good? I don't know if you understand or get it, but devils pure, straight from the underworld devils. I mean, that's about as evil as
Nine
the
hells.
criminal. Now, surely Huckabus has done some things that are questionable in his life, but he's really tried not to be evil. And again,
Maybe you should go visit that room you were last in on that boat, and then you tell me that you're so different.
right up on you. You don't understand.
No, and he's provoking you. I mean, he absolutely is.
You don't understand the pain that man brought.
Tell me how you're so different.
Vengeance?
I understand. I don't understand. You're right. I wasn't there. We're all a little evil.
Huckabus spits on the deck.
And he stops talking to Celestial at that point. So that the other two can understand.
Mind you, Huckabus has been speaking in common this whole time, because
No, and he's been talking back to you in Celestial the whole time. Yeah, I mean, so his side of the conversation, they
my
don't know.
side of this conversation.
What are the rest of the other two doing? Just out of curiosity.
Standing around.
Thinking.
Yeah.
Kind of watching and waiting.
Yeah, any
Listening.
sort of information recall that I have on planar travel through arcane training or whatever would be useful. But
So you're ignoring the exchange.
I mean, it's in Celestial and it's heated, and I assume that they're talking
But,
about what they were
yeah,
talking about.
You can see that Huckabus is moved up on him, is salivating on him, and just reminder that in the last 24 hours he did eat a dude. So just
And then,
reminder.
if we're talking about character thoughts and everything else,
That he did.
this guy was just alone with the guy who's wanting to destroy the world and everything else. And I assume that he kind of sold us all down the river still.
Okay. How about you, Mort?
Yeah, so hearing that basically that we sign up to give our lives away for a year, or never leave. When Mort said, when Huckabus says, and it may have been kind of flippantly, but nonetheless, when he says like, "Why don't we just take a long rest and take try and take him out tomorrow?" Mort's going to kind of head back down the gangplank and go talk to one of those halflings on the dock.
All right.
And more,
So hang on at that point. Let me go back to the other guys at that point. We'll come back to you in a minute. I just want to see if you guys were interacting with this exchange. Okay. Back to the Morton Tristan show. Exactly.
You get the accordion.
The Mark and Tristan show.
And I think it's the Huck and Tristan show, but either way.
That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Carry on with the Huck and Tristan show. I didn't-
Oh, okay. If I could just say to Mort, because Mort, you've known Huck a while. He wasn't flippant when he was saying that. That was not flippant. He meant it. Gotta maybe remember this is something that Huck's been waiting for his whole life, is to meet and murder his father. Which somebody could say is evil, sure. Somebody else could say is vengeance, sure. But back there at the Huck and Tristan show, Huck hasn't backed down. Huck is being a little intimidating there.
Right. So, you know what I mean? Tristan will look at you and talk now in common, so everybody can understand. You're interested in not becoming evil, is that correct, Huckabus? Is that what it is?
Huckabus turns away from you and walks away and says, I'm interested in getting out of here. Apparently this ship's no good. We Volk. And he's going to start walking down the gangplank, implying that he's going to walk out of town and see what happens.
Yeah, Yeah, I will absolutely follow him because he doesn't. He knows the boat's not going to do him any good. But as he's talking, I mean, as he's walking, I'm assuming the other two will follow. I don't know.
When he realizes that Tristan's following, he's going to look back and say, 30 days, huh? That's what you said, right? You have 30 days.
I have 30 days to give him a decision. That's correct.
Let's take 12 days down the road. We'll see what we see. We'll figure something out, or we won't. It is possible that we can find our own way out of hell. We've done it before.
Right.
What do you say?
I say we take half the amount of time and see what we can figure out. I think that's a great plan. But
Well,
the thing is this: if you're
Gives
if
us a
you're
little
so
wiggle room.
come again.
I said 12 days. It gives us some wiggle room. Gives us some wiggle room to get back in
right.
case we need to. But I also suspect that as long as we're on this plane, as long as we think hard enough, we'll probably be able to talk to Daddy.
Well, no, I think I'm not so sure you may, but I'm certain that I could because I already have.
Well, there you go. So 15 days down the road.
So we could go 29 days down the road, and I believe if we made the decision,
That
and I
might
was
be pushing.
communicating,
Let's
it
let's
we don't have
reevaluate.
to come back here. I don't believe after this.
Let's reevaluate after a 10 day.
I think that's a wonderful plan, but I want to say this last thing. I understand that it's your father. It's somebody that you hate. You've voiced that opinion.
Feel
But
vengeance.
Jay Cracker's a gangster. Is that correct?
What?
Is Jay Cracker a gangster?
Eh,
Is he a gangster? Yes or no?
I don't know. Depends on how you define the word gangster. Does he
Does it-
run gang? I guess that makes him a gangster. Sure.
Yeah.
Was Huckovitz
So
very involved in that? Sure.
Has he done? Has he done evil things?
Your point.
Have you been a part of those things?
Your point. And you can kind of
Don't be
perceive
so
that Huck
crazy.
looks really angry right now.
No. But you see where I'm going with this. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But yeah. Do you not see? Is I'm not seeing where the difference is.
On one hand, then Huckovitz starts to slowly walk, and I don't know, are we on the outskirts of town yet? Have we reached? Are we still walking through town? We're still walking through town. Huckovitz is walking a little slowly, and he says, what you're trying to compare is some apples to some oranges. I don't know if I know what oranges are. Maybe I do.
Yeah.
In which we're talking about the human criminal underground mind that runs a district of a provincial city versus a devil lord? Do you not see where there are degrees of difference?
Okay, but what if you're in the Nine Hells? Do you think that's much different? Than he does a different job than Jay Cracker. If we're in the Nine Hells.
As he reminded me, I have no idea what happens within the levels of hell. I have concepts and clues, but I don't know. So no, I can't make that comparison.
I don't see it much different. And Taliesin has always told me that the Hells run very similar to the rest of the planes. It's just they're much more brutal. I don't find it much different, sir.
Well, that makes one of us.
I look at
We're all
Fia.
going to have different opinions.
Say,
Freya, you're right.
What do you mean, Fia?
It appears that Tristan has a different understanding of what's acceptable, particularly back in our material plane.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I haven't read enough thing or other things about this
For
argument.
so long and seeing that the material plane doesn't know how to take care of itself gives you a little bit of a different opinion.
Well, I suppose we'll find out.
if we have come to a choice and we see that some roads diverge as they enter a forest,
Path less traveled.
well, then fuck you.
Yeah.
Huckabus is going to suggest that if
Ah.
there's a southward route, we take that.
Sure.
Is this the way? Is this the way that you would have traveled, Mort?
So I had already walked off to go talk to the people. Like, I have not been there for a while.
Well,
Right.
and
Okay.
We kind of walked away from Mort. We've
Oh.
abandoned him in town.
Yeah, I guess we are.
and I think it was also. I assume you're not going to be gone that long, and if we've actually gotten outside of the town and you're not with us, then I would wait and suggest we all do the same.
Well, part of it too is I don't know how long so I think Mort should have left earlier on in that conversation between Huck and Tristan.
Right.
Mhm.
Depending on how long that conversation lasted, and it may not have been very, very long at all.
Couple of minutes.
Or it may have gone with you.
Right. You may have gone and come back before we got very far, depending
Right.
on
Well,
how that goes.
so I mean, I think Ken's muted. I don't know if he's been trying to.
More, you can have your side conversation and be with them. It's not
Okay.
an issue.
So I'm with you. So just, and we don't have to go through the whole thing, but what I would have wanted to know is if there was any chance that the shadow halflings could join in on an attack, or if there's anything that prevents them from interacting or doing anything with Dargonian. And probably what I would have done would be to ask
Go ahead.
if they could tell me where Phaedra or my mother was, and then ask them so I'm not raising too much suspicion with someone I don't know. But if they don't know where they are, well, but
Everyone. The short answer is everyone is pretty much where they would normally be.
okay.
They still live at home and that sort of thing. They just, now, I guess if you're gonna switch off and go find somebody else, that probably would change my answer earlier to your being able to catch up.
To join up.
If the others, you want to stop the others, you can do that. Something along those lines. That's up to you.
It's a small town. How long do you think it would take? All right. So,
700 people, not really a small town.
well, true. It's
That's a couple hundred buildings at least.
Yeah,
and
at least.
where you are and where you're going. But yeah, so I mean, it's not that big a deal. If you want to do that, that's fine. You just tell them to hold up.
so. All right. So yeah. So what I'll do is once I guess confirm that everyone's where they usually are, I'll ring back up and tell Fear, hey, I'm going to go check on something. Meet me at the edge of town, or whatever.
And yeah,
So I'll let them know that I'm going to do something.
my guys would be amicable to that idea.
You let us know what you're asking about.
Not yet.
Okay.
I wasn't sure how. So I know out of character. I'm sure I know how serious Huck was about fighting the demon, but I don't know that I want to.
Right. Okay. Then no comment. We will be for you at the edge of town.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Um,
Yep. As soon as he's out of sight, Onyx goes invisible and follows him.
That's fine. Not that I can
Onyx,
help him, but
What's that? What was that, Ken? Sorry.
Onyx, you can make me a perception check.
Yep.
And more
that straight
make me not be perceptive check.
it's a 22.
That is not. I don't beat that. I got a 20.
20. All right, you follow him a good bit of the way, but lose him after a couple minutes.
Okay, that's fine. And he then he comes back and says, "I tried to follow him there, Trish, but he's a sneaky little sucker."
I remember some of these roads. It's starting to come back to me.
Yeah. And Tristan doesn't. I mean, and Onyx doesn't know. So.
Right.
Very good.
Okay, more.
So, Phaedric?
Okay, that's not a problem.
Okay.
He looks surprised to see you.
Yeah. Phaedric, it's been a while.
Where did you come from?
I don't think
Why are you here?
it's kind of a long story. I don't know how much time I've got.
Make me a charisma check.
Huh?
Make me a charisma check.
It's 12.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. It's Phaedric. I've been looking for you all for 20 years. I don't know that I've got a lot of time right now, but if something were to come up, is this devil? What can you tell me about this devil, this demon that's here? Is he always here?
Not always. Most of the time, though.
I mean, how can the rest of us interact with him?
I mean, talk to him and touch him, and things of that sort.
Phaedric, can I ask you something very, very confidentially, very sensitive?
Sure, you can ask me anything.
Do you think I'm with some adventurers now? Do you think that if we were to attack Dargonian, any of the other halflings would be willing to or able to join in and help?
Why would we want to do that?
To get back to where everyone was. Do you like it here?
Why do we want to do that?
Do you like it here?
I mean, it just is. We're just here, right?
So nothing's changed.
Okay, right?
I don't know. I've not seen you in 20 years. Is everything okay? Can I do an insight?
You realize as you're going through down this line of conversation, it just strikes you that he's not 20 years older.
Okay.
Probably not aware it's been 20 years.
Right.
I mean, we just do what we're supposed to do, and everything's okay, right?
What is it you're supposed to? I mean, how long has it been that you've been here? Do you know?
I hadn't really thought about it. I don't know.
Phaedric, it's been 20 years. Look at me, I'm older. I'm 20 years older than you right now.
Yeah. I wasn't sure it was you at first. It is you, right?
It is, yeah. I went off to go into Neverwinter, and then when I came back, everyone was gone.
We're here. See?
What does he have you
We're all
doing?
here.
What does he have you do?
We move stuff, or a lot of work at the blacksmith does a lot of work. The other folks do a lot of work. We do a lot of moving supplies around and normal stuff, right?
I mean,
Right?
it's not right. No, it's not right. You shouldn't be having to do this. It's been 20 years you've been working for nothing, for no one. I mean, and no one's ever gotten upset. No one ever has cared.
Why would we get upset? We're being productive. We're helping.
It's you don't have any choice in anything. I mean, did no one ever decide not to do it to resist?
Resist what? Why would you resist? We're being productive. We're helping.
I mean, we never used to have to do this sort of thing. I mean, we'd work on the farm. We would laugh. We'd go run to the river. We'd
I mean,
chase animals.
That's before there was a war coming. We got to get ready for the war, right?
What side are you on, Pedrick?
On our side, right?
It's not. This is not the side that we want to be on.
I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about.
So is everyone here happy then?
What's that?
I said, so is everyone here happy then?
Yeah, why wouldn't we be?
Well, I mean, there was that 20-foot tall demon hovering over the city before, but as long as you're happy, Pedrick. And I will, to the extent that I can control it, I want to shift out of the shadow form. So that I think I can't communicate with them when I'm not in that form.
Well, they certainly can't communicate with you. You can talk at them. Know whether they hear you or not, you don't know.
Okay. So yeah. So once
if you shift out, he doesn't look like Pedrick anymore. He's just one of the
right. So yeah, I'll leave him off with, well, at least you all seem happy, and I'll leave to go and find the rest of the group.
Okay.
And I'll let them know. Yeah, I wanted to see if they would join us if we fought Dargonian, but they don't seem to mind being under his thumb.
Because they don't know any different, Mort.
That is the way of the devils.
They had a life before Dargonian. They should know better. They should know different.
20 years is a long time, man.
I know. I've felt every one of those years.
But they were here the whole time.
They haven't aged the way that I have. It's different here. They're different. I hope that they would be able to help us, but I don't think they will. I mean, Hawkvis, I don't know how serious you were, but I was hoping that if we did attack Dargonian, we'd be able to have help from some of my friends and family, but it doesn't seem to be that's going to be the case.
A 5-star review or tell us what you think on Facebook or Twitter at Broadcast Network. A new episode.
What is that?
I don't know what that was.
Well, so then we head south. Is that what's happening here?
I think that's still a reasonable goal for the short term. I'm sorry about that audio.
How long would the travel been? And Mort, how long would it have taken you to get to Neverwinter before?
With a horse, it was about a day and a half.
We don't have horses.
Well, actually, funny you should mention that. So basically, if we take 10 minutes out of every hour, we can have a thing that looks something like a horse but isn't a horse towing a magical floating disc. And basically then we'll move much quicker.
Doesn't sound terrible.
Huckabus, upon seeing this contraption, will laugh with glee and clap his hands.
Indeed. Yep. So it involves me on a quasi-real horse-like creature, and I assume the horse-like it just shifts every single time and is confusing as hell. And then there's a floating disc you guys can ride on behind the horse-like creature. And away we go.
Occasionally, is it a horse of a different color?
Absolutely. That's one of the ways that it is horse-like. But other times it's like a giant ant
But,
in a horse shape.
but so it's not a horse, of course, of course.
It is not a horse, of course.
Unless, of course,
Unless the quasi-real randomness dice roll that it's so horse-like that it is indeed a horse.
Mr. Ed,
Of course.
shove some
Yeah,
peanut butter
of
in its
course,
mouth,
of course.
quick.
Wilbur.
All right, so you're headed south.
Yep. Freedom.
Towards where Mort remembers Neverwinter being.
So the motley crew mounts upon the pseudo horse
And Tensor's
disc and head south for what they hope might be the direction of Neverwinter.
As
That
head south, every couple miles, Hucklevis is going to be playing with and fiddling with his
Rattle?
rattle, really hoping that something happens.
And this is where we shall leave our intrepid adventurers.
All right, great game,
Until
Kim.
next
Yeah, that's a good game.
Bye, everybody out in broadcast land.